Hello and welcome to Strumdynasty Gaming. This is a very special video I'm doing because I have a guest with me. Gentleman Octopus and Tiggy, the duo on YouTube, also known as Octotiggy. How are you guys doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
We're doing pretty good here in New Zealand at the moment.
So, to start out with, can you tell all the lovely people who you are and what you mainly do on YouTube?
Well, I'm Orderly Chaos, mostly known as Tiggy on the channel.
And I'm Gentleman Octopus, otherwise known as Gentleman Octopus. And so we're Octotiggy, the YouTube channel Octotiggy.
I'm usually the one who handles the graphics, the artwork, or the icon editing.
Yeah, and I kind of just do everything else. But basically, our channel is a retro gaming Let's Play channel, although we play a lot of modern stuff as well. But that's certainly how it started out.
Yeah, I've seen, I think I started out actually watching your Donkey Kong Country series that you did. I think I had the flu or something one day, and I had to stay home from college, and I was like, I'm always searching for new Donkey Kong stuff because I'm a Donkey Kong nerd, and I just stumbled upon your stuff. And actually, I think the first video I saw in that series was the one. I don't know if you remember this, but you did this really hilarious edit where you bounced off of a bunch of stuff and you made a bunch of Donkey Kong noises and you pushed the down button so he was covering up his head a bunch of times. And,
yeah. Oh, I remember that. That was in the snow level, I think. Was it the one where I just laughing maniacally? I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, that rings a bell. That's funny. People come to us from so many random videos, and they're never the ones you'd expect. We're like, oh, we came to you from Donkey Kong, or Thomas the Tank Engine, or it'll be like, oh, wow, that was just a random game we played once. Although Donkey Kong Country is pretty epic.
Yeah, I actually did see, that doesn't surprise me because I saw one of your videos, I was going through some of your videos, and I saw, some of them just, randomly have, tons and tons more views, and I'm like, the algorithm is a funny thing sometimes.
It is really weird. Yeah, the Thomas the Tank Engine one specifically is our most viewed video, and it makes absolutely no sense. There's nothing about that video that makes it shine any more than others. It's not oh, that's our best video we've ever made. It's just this weird anomaly, and I've never been able to figure it out. If you look at the YouTube statistics in the background, it's really strange. It says that it's women of ages 30 to 50 or something ridiculous. So the only thing I can figure is that parents are putting it down in front of their kids and going here you go, you watch it on my account, which is hilarious because that video is wholesome and lovely, but if you have it on, say, autoplay, it's going to go into all of our other videos, which are not so wholesome.
Yeah, I remember thinking, just on that kind of topic of wholesomeness, I come to a lot of the live streams sometimes, and I just I see some of the inside jokes or hear some of the inside jokes, and I'm thinking, man, if this is someone's first video, they're going to be number one, huh? And number two, oh, I was not expecting them to say that. And it's pretty hilarious sometimes.
Yeah, our in-jokes are all over the place. It's from the most offensive stuff to the most just random words that don't make sense to anybody. You'll just be like, what? What do you mean, what happened?
What happened?
What do you mean, what is this? It's just a random question. It is always random.
Randomest things that just catch on for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always great.
Pregnant cats.
Yeah, pregnant cats, and then I'm not even going to explain that. That doesn't make any sense on its own. But yeah, every so often you'll come into a thing and it'll be pregnant cats, and it's okay, I guess that's an in-joke.
So I know you have your obviously your intro, but can you give us the long form version? How did you meet, and when were you hey, let's do an Octotiggy?
Well, the long form version in the days of old. Do you want to?
Well, a long time ago, in a distance far, far away, we actually ended up meeting each other on an online game called Second Life, of all places. And we just sort of made friends on there.
So how aware are you of Second Life? Yeah. I mean, it's probably pretty well known at this point, but...
what do I know of Second Life?
Yeah.
Full disclosure, almost nothing.
Okay, that's cool. Well, that's awesome. That means we can explain a little bit.
Okay.
So so Second Life, which is kind of not really a game. It's sort of like what VR chat is now, except back in the day it didn't have any VR, of course. So we were just basically walking around as our little avatars, and we met each other on there randomly, completely randomly. It was this virtual worlds that you could walk around in, but it had no voice chat. And one day they decided to add voice chat to Second Life. And they were like, okay, if anyone wants to try out the new voice chat, you have to go to these very specific servers to do it. So we went to there, not knowing each other. We both met on the voice chat part of this beta voice chat that they were doing. And we just happened to come across each other. And we were like, hey, you're cool. Come and hang out with me and my friends. And then we just sort of chatted from there.
I was Tiggy back then, too.
You were a Tiggy back then, too. Yeah, you were walking around as a tiger. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
A Tiggy with wings. And so from there, we hung out a whole bunch, and then we would sort of like talk outside of Second Life on MSN Messenger at the time. It's just dating us completely. And so one day I was on a trip in America, and being from New Zealand, I went to the States, and I was like, oh, well, while I'm here, I'll come over to Vegas and see Tiggy. And so that's what I did. And
you met a Las Vegas tiger.
I did. I met a Las Vegas tiger,
Vegas tiger.
And then we've been together more or less ever since.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. So when you started the channel, walk me through, like, did you have any roadblocks, or have you had any roadblocks since? Would you do anything different the second time you started the channel, etc.?
So when we first got together, we soon discovered that we had both grown up with different systems. Like, I'd grown up with sort of early 90s Amiga and PlayStation, and my friends had Segas and stuff. And then Tiggy
I had like Nintendo.
Tiggy had all the
Nintendos.
Nintendos, yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
she had like the GameCube and the N64 and,
that too, yeah.
and the NES and the SNES and everything else. So we soon realized that our gaming backgrounds, even though we were both hugely into gaming, we had completely different gaming histories. And so I'd be like, oh, what do you mean you've never played Fairy Tale Adventure, which like 95% of people who play games would probably never heard of. And then you'd be like, well, have you never played like Chrono Trigger or whatever? And then we'd be like, oh, cool, well, I'll show you. And so we'd either pull out like my old systems because we were in New Zealand, or we'd pull out emulation and do it that way. And we did that for a little while, and eventually it kind of just petered out because we were playing like other games and modern games and stuff, getting on with life. And then we were watching a couple of different Let's Players online, mainly Game Grumps, I would say, to start with.
Yes.
And those guys are hilarious, obviously.
Yeah.
But at some point we were watching them, and like they would put out like multiple videos a day, and you could tell that sometimes they were like really on it and like really funny, and then other times they're just kind of like sort of going through the motions, and like this video is maybe not the best, but it's still kind of funny. And we were just like, man, we could do that ourselves. Like, I bet you if we just did our own videos, we could be just as funny.
Yeah.
And it's hit or miss.
And we may or may not have been correct, but we totally did. So we like started up our own YouTube channel. It was actually kind of inspired by my sister, known as Nocturnalowlie.
Yes.
She still runs her YouTube video as well. She was doing it first, and I was like, so I kind of went to her and started probing her for questions like, how do you do this, that, the other? And she'd be like, oh, I have this kind of microphone, and I set my channel up this way. And I was like, cool, I'll do it all a different way. But thanks for the information. So anyway, that's kind of why we got the channel together.
Roadblocks.
Yeah, right. Sorry. To actually answer your question. So the roadblocks that we had.
One thing that I've noticed with YouTube is certain games certain videos will just suddenly disappear from our channel just because they happen to have the wrong words in them.
So I'd say, yeah, YouTube is really strange with the way it restricts your videos. Like if you name, so one of the games we played early on was Nuclear War on the Amiga.
Jesus.
And I would always put like kind of a little funny phrase in the title or whatever. So I'd have Nuclear War, Murder Cows, or Ninja Terrorist Attack or something like that. And YouTube would be like, how dare you say the word ninja terrorist, murder, suicide, anything slightly controversial. And I'd be like, cool, this video is no longer available in the following countries, Germany, Ukraine. And you'd just be like, okie doke. Guess we'll like leave those words out in our titles from now on.
So they were region blocking you.
Yeah, and it would be really strange, random stuff that you would be like, oh, I didn't even think that was a controversy, but I can kind of see why YouTube might not want those videos to be on their front page. I mean, a lot of the roadblocks that we've experienced have been YouTube-related things. I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's a YouTube channel, but like, it's not us personally. It's always like the algorithm or
or some random guy did a cover of a song from Final Fantasy.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, this is his.
The content claims. I could basically do an entire interview about just how annoying the content claims have been. People like they'll claim the strangest things. They will say that music that is like completely public domain belongs to them. Yeah, they'll say like Tiggy said, a track from a Final Fantasy game we played is actually theirs because they covered it once. It's really funny. So far we haven't had any like strikes per se. You can just kind of go in and go, well, actually I disagree, and then usually they just go away.
Yeah.
Every so often they'll stick around, but they don't. We haven't had any videos canceled off YouTube or anything like that.
Well, that's good. I mean, from my experience, the gaming channels don't usually get as much ponage as like music channels or like news channels get, as far as like being just blocked.
Right.
Because
and that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like the other part of it is that we don't just. It's not like we're playing a song and they're just going, right, we'll just sit here for 3 minutes in silence while the song plays. Please come and like take our channel down. Usually we're talking over stuff, of course. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like it's fair use. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, that's debatable, I guess, but the only clear things we've ever been claimed on where it's like, oh, okay, that actually kind of makes sense is like we've had claims from, say, Konami, who will claim the credit sequence from a game, and they'll be like, that's ours. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is yours. And I can't really debate that at all. But apart from that, usually it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I know you had to like mute, like when you were playing Life is Strange, for example. Like it's almost like that game was created specifically so that no one could play it on YouTube, because they put so many like.
Yeah, and I mean, some of that we just sort of take on the nose and go, well, fair enough. There is like a straight up song in that game.
Like Kingdom Hearts playing "Let It Go" all of a sudden.
Oh yeah. Suddenly you got Elsa singing in your video. There's a good chance you're going to get claimed by Disney.
Nope, mute that.
Yep. But I mean, some games will have. They've actually got options now to mute the music in their games because they'll know that it's going to get people who let's play them claimed on YouTube, which the new Life is Strange does. Life is Strange 2.
Mm-hmm. That's nice of them to do.
Sometimes we'll be like, cool, turn off the licensed stuff, but every so often we'll leave it on for the sake of our gaming experience as well, if you know what I mean. Like you can turn off the licensed music and Life is Strange 2, but like then there's suddenly these scenes that just have no music the whole way through, and it's just like, well, that's awkward and weird.
It's like, well, she died and no one said anything. They just kind of walked around awkwardly. Yeah.
They all just stared at her in silence.
Right. So, kind of jumping back to my questionnaire I have in front of me again. I feel like I'm on the news. I feel like I'm on Anchor. What content was the most fun to make, and which are you most proud of? I mean, I know obviously that Thomas the Tank Engine video, that's just got to be, But.
Well, definitely. I think some of our favorite stuff are the lesser known things on our channel that probably haven't been seen as much. I mean, if you want to go for things that were the most fun to make, certainly our trip to America was probably the most fun to do, but we weren't doing that expressly to make a video.
No. And Turtlepalooza was pretty fun.
Rescue-Palooza? No, it was TMNT Rescue-Palooza? Yeah, you're right. So there's a Ninja Turtle fan game that's quite good.
Okay.
That we played, and basically it's this giant fan game. It plays like a running beat 'em up, and it references all the old school Ninja Turtle games, all the cartoons, all the movies. It's got all these references in it, and it was so fun to play that game and just be like, oh my god, it's that! Oh god, it's that! Oh my, they've got that thing in there! Wow, I can't believe it!
All the nostalgias.
Absolutely. I think any game where we're having either having a really great time like that, or having the worst time, those are usually the best videos to make. And I think people love it when we have a really terrible time, but it's also pretty evident when we're having a really good time. It's the stuff in the middle where you kind of like, game was all right, I guess, that it's not as interesting.
I think my crowning achievement is that beautiful painting I made in Silent Hill.
Silent Hill Shattered Memories?
It is, wow.
Yeah, that's your masterpiece. I mean, some of the thumbnail art you do for us is great, but that... Yeah, coloring inside the lines was a challenge.
I feel bad. I don't know that one off the top.
So Silent Hill Shattered Memories has this whole mechanic in it where half the story, the protagonist is like talking to a therapist, and the therapist is like, here's a coloring book drawing to color in. go for it. And so you're given the controls, but it's a Nintendo Wii game, so you're trying to use a Wiimote to draw with, to like color in between the lines, and it's completely insane. And basically Tiggy came out with this mess. It looks like a Jackson Pollock. And then the guy afterwards is like, whoa, okie doke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I'll send you a link to it at some point. It's pretty hilarious.
Okay, cool, thanks. I did have a follow-up question. When you said going to America, is that when you did your skit at a con? I know you did that at one point. Is that what you're talking about?
The Undertale and Kingdom Hearts cosplay stuff, that's a New Zealand con that we did that at, called Armageddon, the local con. No, the America stuff, we're going on a trip anyway. And while we're there, every time we've gone on trips to places, we always take video footage, even back like before our channel. And this time we were like, let's take some random footage and maybe we can make something out of it for the channel. And we have like a whole pile of footage sitting around, but it's just trying to get it together and make it make some kind of sense for people, because a lot of it's just real random.
What part of the United States did you go to?
So we've been a couple places. When I came over originally, I sort of went through like Louisiana and went to Vegas. We've been to Florida as well. We like to go places where there's theme parks.
Oh, yes.
Because we're kind of theme park junkies. So LA, sort of Anaheim for Disney, Florida for Disney, Universal, those kind of places are really cool.
Yeah.
So in New Zealand, there's like nothing like that. There's no decent theme parks. There is a theme park. It's called Rainbow's End. Anyone who hears this will know what I'm talking about, but it's terrible. As a kid, I went there and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. As an adult, I took Tiggy there and we laughed the whole time because it was just like, you thought this was a theme park? It's like,
oh, this is so cute.
There was like no one there and it was just all sort of dinky and rusty. I mean, after going to Disney World, you're kind of like, oh, okay. Other places, not so much. But sort of the closest stuff to New Zealand is all in Australia. So it's kind of, going to America for me, it was like, wow, Disneyland, oh my goodness.
Right. So, like, as far as, like, upcoming things that you guys might be doing, is there anything, like, you're super excited about, might be on the agenda?
Yeah, we have a couple of things that we're
We do.
of,
Yeah,
not asking for spoilers.
No. There's a couple of things we won't spoil that are coming pretty soon.
Something different.
Something different. We're always got an intention to play more games. It's just finding the time, of course. And there's a couple of things that I think we'll be playing very soon that is some people have been waiting for a long time. We get certain requests over and over again. So some of those will be coming up. That's kind of the main stuff. I'm always working on my music, and Tiggy's always working on her art, so we've always got something coming out.
I'd also like to get that trip footage done at some point.
Oh yeah, the rest of it, trip footage. It'll be like back in 2017 or whatever it was now. We went to America, and here's the footage. It took us a long time to edit. I'm sorry.
You did bring up your music. I was going to ask you about that briefly, actually. You do, like, I know you've done 8-bit music, and I've seen some of it on your channel.
Yeah, so I only just started doing that in probably, I've been doing music my whole life. Like, my mum made sure that I learned the piano when I was a kid, so I learned to read music pretty early on, but then kind of gave that up when I was in school and played some other instruments and things. But once I got into gaming a lot, I just loved gaming soundtracks, loved movie soundtracks, and I really wanted to make things like that. So a couple of years ago, I was like, you know what, I'm going to download something that I can make like chiptune music with. And I was speaking to one of our viewers, Rekkimaru, and like he was using FamiTracker, or he knew something about FamiTracker, and he kind of helped me out with it. And we actually put some tracks together. And I did that for a little while, maybe a few months, maybe up to like a year. And then I sort of went, I want to kind of make some other stuff as well, and started looking into using software like FL Studio, and it's all still electronic stuff. It's not like I have instruments sitting around like a guitar or a piano or anything, but I've just been working in there now. It takes longer to make these other tracks that I've been working on, but it's just interesting to like broaden out from the chiptune stuff. Yeah,
and I can tell you that computer music, you know, whether you're using FL Studio or, you know, using what I use, which is usually GarageBand, it takes so much longer to program a track than it does to just pick up my guitar and play it and record it. It's so underrated, but people don't understand how much work goes into it. They're like, you're just pushing the space bar, and that's never what it is, you know? It's like...
No, not at all. And I mean, I wish I had a guitar around that I could actually play and that I could teach myself and just pick it up and go like, sweet, let's go for it. But sometimes it's also good because I'll go into my software and go like, right, well, what can I find that like replicates a sound that I would want to hear instead, and then find something else some other way. And it's kind of nice to have those restrictions sometimes.
Yeah, like limitation kind of breeds creativity, I think.
Right.
And that's kind of like the entire philosophy behind like NES music and stuff like that, which is why some of that NES music, man, that's still like, that music still takes sometimes, like.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's why some of those soundtracks are so iconic, is because those composers back when it was literally a restriction on file size or that kind of stuff, they were like, well, I can only work with these two instruments and I can only make them make these sounds. What can I get out of it? Rather than just having the freedom of absolutely everything in the whole world and going, hey, make a soundtrack. It's like, what can I do with these three sounds? It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know what? Side note, I didn't acknowledge this earlier. Why were you trying to start a war on my channel with Game Grumps? Because you were talking about, like, some of their videos aren't that great, and I'm just like, oh my god. Like, they're gonna come after me now. Like,
What did I do?
I didn't say
Did I say that? Oh, I'm so sorry. No, it's not that they're not, it's not that their videos are not great. It's just that, like, I mean, and I can attest to this too, is like when we were doing a video a day, and we were only doing one video a day, you kind of get to a point where you're doing so many videos that you put out a video and you go like, kind of wasn't that funny. Like we were just sort of like going through the motions at that point. And I think that's kind of why we moved away from a video a day, because it's like you want quality over quantity, right? And this isn't just Game Grumps. This is like all the Let's Play channels seem to get into this rhythm of going, we have to do a video a day. We have to do multiple a day, because otherwise the algorithm won't listen to us and people will forget who we are and all that sort of stuff. And you can kind of hear it sometimes as well. It's not like Game Grumps videos are so terrible, except for these random ones that are good. I mean, and they're obviously doing very well for themselves. And every so often you go like, sometimes when we're playing games, we're kind of funnier than that, and then
there's several videos that just haven't seen the light of day because we just were not funny. We're like, that was not good.
Yeah, and that happens too. Sometimes we'd play stuff and just be like, that was just no one wants to watch this. Let's try something else, or let's try recording later on or whatever.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I was just messing with you, but
I think you're messing with us, but I think just in the off chance that Aaron Hansen and Dan Evan are listening, are like, how dare they?
Yeah, Game Grumps is like just tuning into my channel for this like one random video.
Who are Octotiggy anyway? I've always been wondering.
Excuse me, I didn't talk any smack.
They'll be like, that Tiggy, she's great, but that Octopus, man, he opinionated.
Tiggy washes her hands of the crime. So I guess I'll go ahead and ask you this. Where can people find you? And I know you have like a Patreon and stuff like that. All that shameless plugging.
So you can find us on youtube.com/Octotiggy. We also have like Twitter and probably have a MySpace page and an Napster account and all the places that you would be, all the places you can think of. We have an Octotiggy something. We have a Patreon. We don't really expect people to donate to the cause, but we have a lot of very generous followers.
We are always grateful.
We are always extremely grateful. But you can find our Patreon by searching for Octotiggy on there as well.
Patreon, Twitter.
Yeah,
Twitch.
we have a Twitch account too. We stream to our Twitch account as well as our YouTube account, but mostly it's all the YouTube.
Mostly.
If you can find us on YouTube, you can find us anywhere.
Yes,
and mostly on YouTube.
Mostly.
Right. You kind of killed my joke a second ago, because I was gonna be like, oh, and aren't you also on this one website? I can't think of the name of it. I think it's called YouTube.com. But it's you have some tiers, as in TIERS. You have some tiers on your Patreon, right? I don't exactly remember what those are right now, but like you have like Tiggy's Cubs.
Yeah, so everyone who becomes a patron to ours, we consider them one of Tiggy's Cubs. They become one of the elite group of people who look after us. So we offer a whole bunch of different things, very silly stuff, but like people who become our patrons get like a little animated cartoon animal character that we check up on our streams to thank people. And we do all sorts of stuff like Tiggy will do sketches for people. We even had a couple of people recently subscribe to our highest tier, which meant that they got sort of like Octotiggy loot boxes that we sent out their way. So even in the middle of, it was right in the middle of our lockdown as well. They were like, here, we're going for the highest tier. And I was like, cool, we can't do anything about it at the moment, sorry.
Wow.
But we will as soon as we can. And their boxes are still on the way at the moment. But
okay.
there's some fun and silly stuff on there.
So lots of levels, lots of things for people to check out, and lots of types of different content that people might not have been aware of. I really appreciate you guys coming and doing this.
It's great being interviewed. We've never been interviewed before. No one's ever come to us and gone, hey, Octotiggy, come and tell us all about your lives. So
Yes, thank you
it's
very
kind of cool,
much.
and thank you very much for doing that.
Yes, it was a pleasure to have you guys. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I encourage everyone to go check out their stuff. But until next time, I will see y'all next time. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Sean. Thanks for tuning into this video, even though it's a little bit different from the normal gaming content I usually put out. Thanks to Octotiggy for participating in this interview. Just to let you guys know, I've got links to just about everything we talked about in this video down in the description, so if you'd like to see that stuff, it is down there. I've included 2 links to where you can find the art by Tiggy, Orderly Chaos. She made the drawings that were featured in this video, as well as the costumes from the skit from the convention that was mentioned briefly. This interview was a lot of fun to do, and there's potential for me to do more of these in the future. Let me know if you like this, and let me know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future. Until next time, I hope you all have a great day.